sixth bid, publicly linked bid, linked with Newcastle United and Mike Ashley since he put the club onto the market way back in October 2017. And as yet, Aaron, none of them have come to anything, so there will be some scepticism certainly amongst Newcastle United supporters and onlookers at these recent claims. Now, this is a French-based group. I can tell you they're called Bellegraphe Nova, and they have Far East money, they say, behind them, most notably from Singapore. They've made some pretty big claims over the weekend, it must be said, and the first of those is that they have made that bid to buy Newcastle United from Mike Ashley for £280 million. They say they've sent a letter of intent to Mike Ashley's lawyers, Dentons, and that they have, crucially, they say, supplied proof of funds as well. They also claim to have enlisted the help of the former Newcastle United captain and legend, of course England captain as well, Alan Shearer. They say they've offered him a role at the club should their takeover prove successful. And the actual bid itself, I can tell you, has been brokered by another former Newcastle United player, and that's Michael Chopra, who now lives out of the country. As I said a moment ago, there'll be a lot of scepticism and cynicism from Newcastle United supporters. They feel like they've been led down the garden path a number of times. They're still reeling from the news 18 days ago that the Saudi-backed consortium led by Amanda Staveley pulled out when they were oh so close to having that pass through. They were just waiting on ratification from the Premier League. That didn't arrive, and of course the Saudi-backed consortium pulled out. It's left Newcastle United supporters really desperate now, really upset that that hasn't happened. But what I can tell the Newcastle United supporters listening to this is that while I understand there is cynicism and scepticism, and much of that is from me as well, I have actually seen the documents purporting this bid, and one of them is a 29-page dossier with lots of financial figures in there as well, and it includes what appears to be proof of funds. And in those documents they claim, Bellegraphe Nova claim, that their revenue back in 2019 was £12 billion. So, of course, numbers not to be sniffed at. But as far as Newcastle United supporters are concerned, I get the feeling they're still desperate that the Saudi-backed consortium comes to the table. We heard from the Premier League for the first time. They broke their silence on Friday and gave us an idea of why that takeover wasn't passed through, it wasn't failed, while it's essentially still sitting there until the Saudis stepped away. But yeah, this is the latest bid on the table, so they claim, and I'm sure we'll hear more about this in the coming days and weeks ahead. But interesting because it's Michael Chopra, a former player, interesting because they're enlisting the help, they say, of Alan Shearer. £280 million is the bid, they say, on the table. Although Newcastle United, as I understand it, are aware, Mike Ashley's lawyers are aware of that bid on the table, he would be, as I understand it, looking for closer to £350 million. So once they do react to this, and they haven't formally yet, I do expect them to reject it. Sources within the buying consortium say to me that if it is rejected, they will return with a bigger bid.
Obviously, we finally had a response from the Premier League. Is it what we wanted? We're not sure now because there's more questions to be asked. Obviously, if you want to know more about that, go and check out Lee's previous video. But this particular video is about this fresh takeover bid that's come through. It looks like it's spearheaded by Michael Chopra. Now, I'm not going to bash him. He did a job for the club at one point. However, some of the things that he's posted on Twitter, he seems that he's got ahead of himself a few times in terms of claiming that he's in the know. Is he? I don't know, again, but I would say probably not. He's probably heard things, he's probably had people that he's trusted who've misinformed him. But just off the back of that, I personally can't take this takeover bid serious at the moment. It's obviously completely fresh. It's spearheaded by a company called Bellanova Group, who I believe are a Singapore group who are currently based in Paris. They are reportedly worth something like $17.6 billion, around £9 to £10 billion. But again, I don't know what to make of it. I want to get everyone's opinions in the comments, what you currently make of it, because for me personally at the moment, until someone's actually walking down the steps of St James's Park with the keys, I don't think any of us are going to take anything seriously, which is unfortunate. You know, we can't get excited about the takeover. One positive that we can take from it though is that Mike Ashley does want to sell, which is fantastic news. You know, he can't be faulted for what he's done throughout this takeover process this year, thankfully. He can't be blamed for anything. He's still adamant that it's the Premier League's fault. Obviously the Premier League have come out and said that they gave PIF the opportunity for arbitration in terms of who they're going to put forward to look after the club. According to the Premier League, they didn't want to do that, so they ended up pulling out. We await their response. It seems that the Belanova Group have reportedly put forward a letter of intent to Mike Ashley. From what I've come across and what I've seen, Mike Ashley's already unhappy with how the Singapore group have presented themselves. They've undercut his asking price. It looks like they were trying to buy the club for 275 million. Straight away he's obviously shot that down. I did see a report as well that in terms of a deposit they were only looking to put 250,000 down. Now that worries me. Yes, it can be seen as a smart move from Belanova Group because obviously the Saudis and Stadium, the Reuben brothers have lost out on 17 million effectively. So they're probably not willing to take that risk and put that much money down. However, if you were so confident that you were going to be able to get the club, surely you would put the deposit down. It just seems like it's all smoke and mirrors to me. I don't think Mike Ashley wants to sell to them because he's essentially saying to them again, put up or shut up. It looks like we could be in a position where he previously thought Amanda Staveley was time wasting and a tyre kicker. She obviously proved that she wasn't and come back with a huge bid. I think he's making it very aware to the Belanova Group, and rightly so. I'm actually happy that he's doing this. Unless you've got the money to put up, don't even bother. To the point now that bizarrely they've apparently turned around and are seeking advice from Alan Shearer. Like, we all love Alan Shearer, but what is Alan Shearer going to do? You know, he can't be involved for a start. One, because of his contract with BBC as well. You know, he can't be seen to be caught up in a controversial takeover if it does end up being that. The fact that they've turned to advice to him just rings alarm bells for me. It just, what can he do? He physically cannot do anything. Yes, he's our hero. Yes, he's a legend of the club, but he has no say on what goes on in the club. And ultimately, I'd imagine from what went on that season we were relegated, his relationship with Mike Ashley is probably unfixable. So, what do you guys think? Do you think it's genuine? Do you think that I'm maybe being a bit too harsh? I personally think it's a joke, to be honest, and I'm not paying much attention to it. Or do you think it's going to go through? Do you think there's a possibility that it's going to go through? Because I'll tell you, my exact standpoint on it is that it isn't happening. Not with this group. I think the media are using it as clickbait again. It's something fresh. Essentially, everyone's the media are saying, you know, that Saudi bid's dead in the water. We need more clicks. Let's go and see what's going on. So we're drumming up this fresh bid. They seem like chances to me. And for the first time in my life, I'm probably going to agree with Mike Ashley in the sense that, you know, if you're serious, put up or shut up. We've gone through enough. We don't want companies coming in and essentially putting us all through the same rigmarole again when you've got no intent of buying the club, or you don't even have actually have the financial backing or know how to actually buy the club. So unless you do, leave the club alone. We as fans obviously want the club sold to people that are interested, but if you don't have the money or you're just trying to undercut, this price hasn't changed. It's always been 350, always been 350. So you either pay that or just shut up, is my opinion. But yeah, I could be being harsh, as I've said. If you disagree with me, that's absolutely fine. Let me know your opinions in the comments. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye bye.